Welcome to another series of our English grammar. Today, let's explore the fascinating world of relative pronouns. We're going to discuss about what are relative pronouns, function and usage, common relative pronouns, relative adverbs. Let's start with what are relative pronouns? A relative pronoun is a word that introduces a relative clause and connects it to the main clause in a sentence. The relative pronoun refers back to a noun or pronoun mentioned earlier in the sentence, which is called the antecedent. The antecedent is the word that the relative pronoun is replacing or providing more information about. Example, the woman whose car crashed into a tree yesterday is my neighbor. The main idea of this sentence is that the woman is my neighbor. This is the key piece of information we want to convey. Now let's identify the parts of the sentence. The word woman is the antecedent. It's the noun that the relative clause will describe or give more information about. The word whose is the relative pronoun. It links the relative clause to the antecedent. Here, whose shows possession, indicating that the car belongs to the woman. The relative clause is whose car crashed into a tree yesterday. This clause provides additional information about the woman, specifically about an incident involving her car. So, the complete sentence tells us that there is a woman and she is our neighbor. The relative clause, whose car crashed into a tree yesterday, helps us understand more about which woman we're talking about. Function and usage. Relative pronouns play a key role in connecting relative clauses to nouns, allowing us to add important details or extra information without creating a new sentence. Relative clauses can be classified into two types: essential or restrictive, and non-essential or non-restrictive. Let's talk about restrictive relative clause. A restrictive relative clause gives crucial details about the noun it describes. Without this clause, the sentence meaning would be incomplete. Importantly, these clauses are not separated by commas. Example, the meeting that we had on Monday was very productive. This sentence contains a restrictive relative clause, that we had on Monday. The clause is essential because it identifies which specific meeting was productive. Without this information, the sentence would be unclear, as it wouldn't specify which meeting is being talked about. Next, we have non-restrictive relative clauses. A non-restrictive relative clause adds extra details about a noun. The sentence still makes sense without this information. These clauses are set off by commas. Example, the painting, which was created in the 18th century, is now in a museum. The main idea, the painting is now in a museum. The non-restrictive relative clause, which was created in the 18th century. This clause adds extra details about the painting, but is not necessary to identify it. It means that the sentence would still make sense if the clause were removed. The clause is set off by commas, indicating that it provides supplementary information rather than essential details. Next, common relative pronouns and adverbs. Relative clauses start with either relative pronouns or relative adverbs. Relative pronouns refer to people, animals, or things that can act as subjects or objects in the clause. Relative adverbs connect clauses and provide details about time, place, or reason. Some common relative pronouns include who, whom, whose, that, which. Let's see an example. The scientist whom we met at the conference is researching a new vaccine. The clause whom we met at the conference identifies which scientist is being referred to. Some common relative adverbs are when, where, why. Example, the year when I graduated was unforgettable. The clause when I graduated specifies which year was unforgettable. Summary. Let's recap our lesson today. Thanks for joining today's lesson about relative pronoun. Until next time, keep practicing your grammar. Bye bye.